Welcome to District 32, immersion, inspiration for ambitious business owners with big dreams.
Hello, my name is Lorraine of District 32 and I am delighted to be here today with Calum Maxwell of Optimise Online. How are you, Calum?
I'm very well, and yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Looking behind you there, is that a new office you're in?
Yes, it certainly is, and we're excited to be here. There's a lot more room, and we have windows.
Yeah, it's great to have. Well, first of all, I'm absolutely stoked because you're a partner and a sponsor with District 32. It's great to be interviewing you so that I can showcase some of your genius, but it's also great to witness the growth that you guys are having yourself, and that's what it's all about.
Thanks. That's awesome. Yeah. Cheers, Lauren.
So let's get into it then. For the people who are listening, this is all things digital marketing, and it's an absolute minefield if we don't know what we're talking about. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, Calum, around, maybe the idiot's guide or the dummy's guide for digital marketing, and hopefully you can answer some questions that I have. So first of all, let's talk about a website. What is an optimized website? What does that actually mean? Optimized website.
Yeah, an optimized website is one that loads fast, that's clean, that's easy to navigate, easy to digest, delivers the content in a way that it answers the questions that the customer is after. That's an optimized website.
So it's not just that it has to be optimized in such a way for Google to rank your website, it's actually delivering information to your customer in an optimal way.
Correct. Yeah. Look, some industry terms are customer experience, user interface, informational architecture. So, if you do a little bit of a search into these and start to understand what they actually are, it allows you to understand that a website isn't just a resume for a business anymore. It is a place where people go to learn more about you, your products, your services, and how you can help solve their problems. So, and that comes back to optimization. It needs to be optimized for the customer.
So there's a couple of questions there then. One is the optimization for Google. I think, and I'm in the networking space, I hear a lot of things from a lot of business owners about trends and what's happening, but I think business owners are being penalized now if their website doesn't load fast. Is that right? Is Google penalize outdated or slow loading websites? Is that right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say penalize. What I would say is that you're certainly not going to compete. When it comes, when people refer to SEO, it's generally because, especially as business owners, we want to be on the first page, and the reality of that is there's 10 spots. There's generally 3 local spots, and a world of competition. You look at, I don't know enough about how many, but I know that there's over 18,000, and I think it's a lot higher than that, EC numbers in Perth. So that's over 18,000 electrical contractors. And that number is from 2018, I think it was. So, if you want to be on the front page for Electrician Perth, well, your website has to be up to scratch. So certainly SEO from a service point of view or a competition point of view, yeah, you've got to have everything in order. And I sort of use a reference as your website's got to be Ferrari. It's got to be well-oiled, well maintained, efficient, and just deliver the result as soon as you hit that accelerate. Accelerator. Yeah, hit the gas,
to the floor,
pedal to the metal. Yeah, that's the one. So and just relating that back to the website. If a lot of customers will come to us and they'll want SEO, they'll want to be on the first page, but often is the case, it's not the first service that we offer, because what we want from being on the first page is leads. So generally, there's other areas that you can work on to generate those leads, generate that business at a much more affordable options in terms of where you can work, and that's digital advertising.
So that's another way then of make sure that your website is set up optimally, because you know, as business owners, you know, I'm saying as business owners, I've seen it happen before. I've done it myself. You build, you know, you want to do a landing page and then you realize you've got absolutely no way to capture people's details, or there's no call to action, or it's confusing message. You know, I think that it does come into it, but Cam, how do you go about then? Is it not hard for you as a web developer then? Because if you look at a usability of a website, there surely are certain rules that human beings would follow with regards to usability. We know where to look for a contact number. We know where the menu is. We understand what happens when we put in our contact details. How do you keep design then refreshing and appealing and cool? And how do you get all these things if surely there's a standard template for the way human beings would interact with a website? Or am I off the wall there?
You know, it's funny, I was actually thinking of this morning. One of the questions I get asked when we're, you know, working on the wireframes, moving towards the design stage, is, you know, a website's meant to look like that. Isn't that like, you know, a cookie cutter? Isn't like, there are a set of guidelines to work to, and I thought of the best example this morning. You've got Samsung that make a mobile phone, and you've got Apple that make a mobile phone, and funny enough, they pretty much work the same way, right? They look the same. Sure, the software is different, and you could argue forever and a day that one's better than the other, but they're both phones. They both have a screen, and they got cameras on the back. Website's no different, right? The structure and how things come together, there is a rule, there's a recipe, there's a guideline, there's best practice, there's, you know, when you dive into accessibility, for instance, that's making, we're looking at the colors, how this color on that color is someone who's colorblind, they won't be able to read that copy now, right? So there's so much to what we do. But yeah, so there is a rule, there is a guideline. Best practice. You know, let's go with that.
You know, it's really interesting as well. I've probably lost count of, and I'm sure everybody else has had this experience as well. We go onto a website and we're ready to buy. We've already chosen that we want to buy from you, and I'm ready. I've got my credit card out and I'm ready to buy online, and I can't do it. Or I can't find where to buy online, and that's just so frustrating that when we go onto websites and there isn't a typical structure for navigation, and we can't find. I'm thinking as a business owner, where's my call to action? How can I engage you? But yeah, it's an interesting space for you to be in.
It's an evolving space. It's a creative. It's a strategic. It's fun. It really is a lot of fun. I think the biggest thing that I love is working with business owners and learning about them and what they do and how they do it. I know things about Invisalign for your teeth that, you know, your average Joe wouldn't know, or the walnut blasting your engine will improve its performance and efficiency. Like, you know, it's really cool. You know, relating back to what you're sort of saying with an e-commerce website, not knowing where to or how to click, that's you know, that's a concern. If a site is not the whole idea is let's make it simple, right? We want to get the person on site from point A to point B, and there might be some steps. So maybe it's point E, there's some steps in the way, but you're gonna make them simple. And that comes back to user interface, user experience, and a whole lot of testing, right? We want to make sure, and there's tools that we have that capture, you know, where's the mouse moving. We got heat maps to understand what people are actually doing on a page. We road test things, we split test things. I've heard stories of one e-com site improved their speed by 0.06 seconds, and they had $300,000 more in revenue that month. Like,
Wow.
what the hell? So,
Wow.
this is the depth that we sort of go to behind the scenes working on websites in terms of optimization.
Wow. You did mention a term earlier, Cam, and I sort of skipped over it because I'm going to come back onto it. You mentioned the SEO word, search engine optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Can you shed some light for the listeners here, please? Because it used to be, and I've heard, is it black hat and white hat and backlinks and headlines, and we had to use all these keywords and all were headlines before, and now we're not allowed to. What is going on there? What are we meant to do as business owners to rank organically? What is this thing, SEO?
Well, I'll start with the white hat, where you sort of kicked off. White hat, grey hat, black hat, right? That's more referring to link acquisition back to a website. There are practices in terms of ranking a website, and you have to be really careful who you choose as a digital agency, as a partner, to work on ranking your website. Because the grey hat is, Google has rules, regs, guidelines, best practice, and their notion is, let's keep it simple. Their notion is, if you go out and purposely build a backlink to your website, that's against the rules, right? So if you have a company working for you and they're a black hat SEO company and they're just building random links to your website, Google's smart enough to pick up on that and potentially catch you. And the risk of that is your website being removed from Google search. So black hat is something you should, if you are seriously looking to invest in SEO services, you should really do some due diligence and do some research and get a better understanding of what SEO is, so that you can go with the rule of, like, a list of questions to ask. In fact, I think I have one that I put together, so I'll hook it through to you and to send out, like, what to ask an SEO agency when interviewing an SEO agency.
So, but what does an SEO agency do then? Because in my mind, I've got, again, optimize the website, but in my mind, I just think I need to create an article a week with answering different questions. Is that a SEO? And what's involved in SEO?
Okay, so let's talk about the white hat, which is where we like to play, right? So number one, your website's going to be up to scratch. It's got to be that Ferrari. So, and we talk about technical SEO, which is a code. You've got your content first SEO approach. So that's the structure of the copy and how it comes together, and the words, not keyword stuffing, not keywords specifically, but how the copy relates to and how you're targeting a keyword and addressing the questions in and around that particular search term is the best way to put it. And then you move into the designs, the aesthetics, how it comes together, and keeping that person on page, because it has to be engaging, right? Google looks at and measures how long someone is on a website. So if they search something, they go to your website, they get the information that they're after, and then they're on there for a minute, they're on there for 3 minutes, then that's really good signals to Google that you should be ranking for that keyword. So certainly you've got technical content, how it's designed. Now we look at the content structure on a site. So like the sitemap, services. Then you look at the blog. So you've got commercial keywords and non-commercial keywords. Example being UHF radio install perf is a commercial keyword. So if we want to rank for that, we need to have a service page. But then what we need to do is look at some non-commercial keywords. So it might be types of radio or UHF radios, or which are the top 3 UHF radios. Have I gone a bit tinny here? I can hear.
It's all right.
No,
It's all right.
it's all right. Cool. So so suddenly if you're building out 5 or 6 articles on your site that cover non-commercial questions, because as consumers, that's where we start. We want to learn. We've never today, like, and you'll say, you can repeat the same thing tomorrow. We've never had a more informed buyer. So it's so easy to grab a phone and start looking up, types of UHF radios. What's best for my 4-wheel drive? Monocrystal solar panels. I've learned about those, right? Because I want to deck out my 4-wheel drive. So we start as consumers looking into what's available. And if I land on, let's say, a customer's, I land on a website and I'm looking at the types of UHF radios that are available, the ins and outs and ups and downs of what they actually offer. But then, hey, I get to the part that says, we are located in, let's say, Welshpool, and we install UHF radios. So I click through, and now I'm on the commercial page. So, and this brings me to SEO strategy. So SEO, having content strategy for your website is what SEO is and should be. It's about getting that first. The website needs to be a Ferrari, and then you work on your content strategy to build as many paths in terms of search terms back to you, your products and your services.
There's a lot more involved then. You've spoken about technical, you've spoken about design, you've spoken about content, commercial content, answering questions content, and then being ranked. I think SEO has got a lot to do about how relevant your copy and your content is in comparison to, the search terms that you're using. Okay.
Great.
Thank you for the enlightenment. I'm sure everybody else will be happy to see that, SEO is a service. It's real.
It is real.
What else I'd love to talk to you about is just to lift the lid on digital advertising. And that's like across the board. You've got more social medias and Google, and then there's more complicated things around on different platforms that we can utilize. Where does a business, where does a business start? When do we know we need advertising, first of all, or does every business need advertising? Should everyone do digital advertising, or should we focus on social media? Or what are the questions we need to ask ourselves before stepping into that arena? When should we start thinking about that?
That is a brilliant question. I've had clients come through my door, and we get an understanding of where they currently are as a business before we even start talking about what we do. I think the simplest way to explain is what's the capability of the business? Have you got more room to do more work? Are you currently, so in that case, you need to look at different marketing tactics to generate business. And that doesn't necessarily mean digital advertising. If, let's say, we're working with a bookkeeper at the moment, and they're starting out, that they're one person at the moment, and they've got capacity to do more. So we're looking at building a core site to represent who and what they are, and they're actually a part of District 32, and so they're actively out there involved in networking, so they're generating opportunity that way. Another way that person could work on generating some opportunity is bringing one of their customers and just simply asking, hey, do you know, or can you think of anyone that might benefit from a phone call with me? So leveraging those that know and love what you do for them is certainly going to offer you more opportunity in terms of leads, right?
Yeah.
It could be, I love, tradies. They're pulling up into driveways every day, working on an air conditioner or some plumbing out the back. I highly recommend that they have magnets in the car, not flyers, magnets. So once they finished work, they then go out of their car, they're packed up, they're in the driveway, ready to leave. But before they leave, they walk down the street, across the street, up the street, and put magnets, because that's the best brand awareness ever, right? So everyone loves a free magnet. They put it on their door. They open it up every day. And when they need a plumber, well, there we go. So
doing yourself out a job there, Calum.
I know, right? And this leads me to, as a business grows, as it scales, and it has more capability, it needs to have more channels of marketing, right? More, and the idea is you don't just do one, you do multiple, and you dial them in, right? You got to do them properly. You need to measure them. You need to know that they're working, and then if they're working, you keep doing them, right? So digital marketing is brilliant in the way that you can bolster everything that you're doing in the real world. So from networking to putting those magnets in driveways, because your website is and should be the center point of your marketing efforts. So when someone goes to your website to learn more about you because they've seen the magnet on the door 50 times, or they were referred to you at a networking group, they want to suss you out. Now, if they go to your website and then they go away and suddenly they're on Facebook or LinkedIn, digesting some, keeping up to date with the family or whatever the case, they're sick of what's on TV, well, bang, there's an ad reminding them that you're there and they went to check you out, so you're front of mind. And this is the whole notion, right? You need to be in front of someone regularly to build that trust, to build your brand. And digital advertising is a very affordable way to do that.
So I think you're talking about that's when they follow you, right? I click on a website. I don't think I've signed up for anything, but hey, they're following me around everywhere I go. There's ads popping up. And I used to find it annoying. And now I think, I want that.
I want that.
For your own business. I mean, for my own business. I want to follow everybody, just pop up all over the place.
Why fight it? Get on the train, right? So,
yeah.
And if anyone had asked me when I was younger and at school, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have never said, I want to be a digital stalker. That's effectively what we do, right? Look, there's retargeting and remarketing, and Facebook, as much as I love to hate it, it's a brilliant tool for businesses. You can put a piece of content in front of someone for as little as 3 to 8 cents. How invaluable is that, right? Facebook's like the new form of radio, except it's way more targeted and way more affordable. So for small business, it is definitely where you should be playing. Facebook, Instagram, from an organic posting point of view, keeping those up to date as to what you're doing, showcasing behind the scenes, presenting or positioning who you are as a business, and then also from an advertising point of view, just remaining, staying in touch, staying in front of, and being ever present to create those opportunities that lead them to you.
Now, there's a minefield of stuff there. And I've also seen, these following ads, the stalker ads, or you call them, or the remarketing, and you can get it on YouTube. And every platform you go to, you're getting these different banner ads, and you're being followed. And I think it's it's clever once you see it for what it is. But how do you go about then deciding? Someone gives you a budget. How do you go about deciding what goes on retargeting and banner ads, or should it all go on LinkedIn, or should I put 10% on Facebook and 20%? Is there rules for businesses, or does that have to be uniquely individual for each business?
Yeah, look, different platforms are better for different services, different products. We actually have calculators here where we can punch in, so we can actually design an audience, and then once we've established that audience based on demographic and interest targeting, and we have a nice little number of 400,000, let's say, our calculators can actually guesstimate what the potential return on a campaign is going to be. But
there's a lead magnet, Callum.
Is it?
There's a lead magnet. I just heard you say it. I'm like, I've got to have it. I've got to have it.
we don't give those away. Those are ours, right?
No, I just mean, I don't mean to give it away. I just mean, come and talk to us and we'll punch in these numbers for you and we'll tell you. Yeah,
definitely. Look, we sat down with a client just the other day, and we're, a big part of actually going on these platforms is the content's got to be right. It's got to connect the consumer's problem to the solution that you're presenting, right? But if we forget the content for just a second, we punched into this calculator to understand the viability of her campaign, and at her price point for the service that she's offering, she's actually going to end up in the red if we do the campaign for her. But then also the client was understanding and appreciative of that because they're tackling a new section in market. It's unknown. They're invested in growing their business and tackling this particular problem. And knowing that the price point is quite low, that's just a short-term thing to get some traction, to get some clients, to build some trust factors, social proof, testimonials, etc., so that she can then potentially double the price of what she's actually offering, and now she's profitable. So having those those conversations before we even move forward is so important in what we do, because we want to provide those results at the end of the day.
That is such an important point, and it's something we're going through at the minute. If it costs us this much for a lead, and this is our conversion rate, this is our cost of acquisition, is it in line with the amount you're going to charge for your product, and your onboarding costs? And it takes some thinking, and some real knowledge around your numbers to be able to know that stuff. But again, when you've added another dimension there, if someone wasn't more experienced, they might think, well, no, because my cost of click is greater than my cost of acquisition is greater than my revenue. But if you can use your experience to project that and say, well, actually there'll be a break-even point, you'll tip over that and then you've gone profitable, then that's appealing. And it's a different story.
Now it's a viable campaign, right? Definitely, yeah. But it's expectations, or setting those expectations before you even spend $1 is so important. What if the customer wasn't prepared to invest, and 6 months in, they're running in the red. We're depleting their bank account, and they're going, "What the hell's going on?" That's it, and that's why it's very important to evaluate these things before you sort of kick off, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you got to spend to make,
That's it.
Is there a general rule of thumb in digital marketing? Is there a rule that says, if my sale is $1,000, then a good cost of acquisition, or per click, if you like, is 0.5%, or is there a general rule of thumb about what you're? I know you're aiming for as much as possible for as little as possible, but are there any guidelines that people could know, or is it all just how long's a piece of string?
Look, it really, knowing your numbers is absolutely key. A general rule of thumb is you're probably about 30 to 40% on operational costs, and then there's obviously the cost of us in terms of setup. We have a slightly different model where we build the infrastructure first, and our retainers are a lot less because of it. So we have maintenance, analyze, and optimize retainers. So when you sort of take that into consideration and you look at the operational cost of the digital campaign, or the ongoing costs, you factor in the 30 to 40% operational costs as a service, and then you're looking at so you do look at your break-even point. And if I bring it, sorry, I tend to run away with the idea, right? But I bring it back. So when you might be spending, let's say, $2,500 on ads and generating let's go, it'll be 2.5, let's go just some random numbers, 2.5, and these won't be founded, but 2.5, and you're generating three times that, so you're generating 7.5 worth of revenue, but you break even now. It's not, it's a waste of time. But suddenly, if we up let's say we change it to 3.5, but you end up generating, 8 times what you spend, now you're at $28,000, and now there's a good profitable market. But then you need to look at that and go, well, hang on, can we handle that much business? Are we capable of delivering that in our time frames? So you need to know your numbers.
I mean, you've got such expertise and calculators and experience and knowledge there, and you can see, from a full 360-degree angle and look at issues that we might not even, have thought of. Which is great. But I mean, so I'm guessing then every business you'll need to test. Is there a 4-week, a 6-week, or an 8-week testing period? Do you have to test every business who comes along to you with their infrastructure and their advertising and their dollars? Is it the same for all businesses? There's always going to be a 6-week testing period or an 8-week before you actually have some data around that individual campaign to be able to forecast properly?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
3 months. 3 months sort of is this what we need to know. We can do as much guesswork before kicking off and making sure the numbers all work out. But it's that 3 months of real world data that we get to play with and go, okay, this is cool. Let's keep going, or we need to tweak this, and that's where the data mining comes in. You're getting across your analytics. You're understanding where they're dropping off. You're tweaking your content, your copy to improve. There's so much that goes into it. But that's fun. It's for us, it's like a game, right? If we change this and tweak this, and hey, the numbers go up. Woohoo!
Yeah.
So it's challenging but fun. It's rewarding, and love what we do. So yeah.
So, I've asked you all the questions that I want to know, for my interest, and I'm sure of the interest of other people listening. But Calum, are there any other questions that business owners just ask you all the time? Is there a standard question that you just get, everybody you talk to asks you?
I think because we have a very educational approach with our clients. The customers that walk through our door are either fresh to it and don't know anything about it, and they're asking simple things like, "Is my website good?" I know that it's not loading fast enough, or some of my favorite, one of the reasons I love working with small to medium businesses and is they're so invested in what they do, and they're the do-it-yourself go-getters, right? And I love it when someone's tried to build a website themselves, and we'll see a different array of skill sets. And I was just working with a new opportunity yesterday. Came and sat down, and his website's not the best, but the copy is on point. He's spent a lot of time on the copy, and often is the case. That's probably the best place to start. It's the most important thing, right? So there's an answer. If you're going to dive into your website, spend time on the copy. Take your customer on a journey. Tell them a story and how you solve their problems. Back to when customers first walk in, some are fresh. They just need they're starting out, they've never done it before, and it's an educational process. Or often is the case, they've been here, they've been there, they've tried that, they've gone to this person, they got this, they kind of succeeded here, but these weren't connected. So we walk through and explain why it didn't work, and provide, not just explain, but provide insight through data and analytics and showcasing our previous client work and before and afters, and because that sense of transparency or simplifying what we do so it's digestible, so that they can understand why it didn't work before, builds the faith, the trust, and the confidence in us to start doing it properly for them. So I never thought I'd be an educator, a teacher, rather than a salesman. So it's good. It's fun.
I think you have to, when people are, especially small business, sometimes their livelihood's on the line,
100%.
97% of the small business market are, sole traders or really, really micro businesses, and they're putting their lifeline on the line. It's like, if this doesn't work, I've got budget for 3 months, and if it takes any over that, then I'm stuffed. You know what I mean? So what can we do in that time? And it's, so you're getting real, there's real emotion and some real tension there around this has got to work, So I can imagine how it's really important on that education process, not just education on what you're doing, but to manage expectations on what's possible and what's not possible.
100%, yeah.
Important.
Definitely.
Calum, you've answered masses of questions for me. Is there anything that I've not asked that you think might be useful information for listeners who might be thinking about embarking on a digital marketing journey or starting to consider Google advertising? Is there anything that we need to know?
No, look, I'll do a bit of a shameless plug.
Yeah, okay, all good.
If you jump over to optimizeonline.com.au, hit the resources tab, and under the resources tab, we're producing content to easy to digest, easy to understand content that walks you through the different stages of optimizing your Google My Business page, making your website faster. How do you choose the right SEO company? And we've even referenced our competitors in that post. There's just sign up to our email list, and because this stuff will be coming out regularly, just use our resource tool. I've actually made it my mission to produce 2 articles a week. I've been I've produced 6 articles over the last 4 weeks. So, and they're all starting. We just got 2 up online now. They've hit the reviews that they've getting through the review stage, and they're going up. So, watch this space. But I do want to like I say, I'm on a mission to educate as many small business owners as I can. So
beautiful. And it's also going to up your SEO, and you're walking your own talk, right?
Yes, it certainly is. And watch this space. Our digital advertising is coming in as well.
Beautiful. So look, Calum, thank you very much. It's been absolutely wonderful to talk to you. We love what you do. I love the passion that you have for working with small business owners, and you only want to work with the people, who are on that edge, and who do have their heart on their sleeve with regards to helping people. So thank you very much. It's been great listening to you and finding all the gaps in our knowledge. And I look forward to our next interview.
Sounds good. I've enjoyed it too. Thank you very much for having me, Lauren. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much, Calum. Have a great one. See you later.
You've been listening to District 32. Immersion, inspiration for ambitious business owners with big dreams.